Hello, sunflowers. You are watching Kellyanne from the Four Queens doing a very overdue episode of Tea and Tarot, wherein I tend to drink tea and talk about tarot because that is just what I do. The tea that I'm drinking is new. I've just bought it today, even though I told you a couple of days ago that my tea cupboard was maxed out. Apparently there was more room, so today I bought raspberry and strawberry, which is a lovely invigorating blend, which I kind of got myself as a little cheeky gift to myself for Ostara. And the cup is so amazing. My sister bought it for me for Christmas, and it's probably the most perfect cup, the most fitting cup for me that you will ever see. Keep calm and drink tea. How perfect is that? And it comes with the lid on the top, so it's kind of like buying premium coffee. It keeps it warm for longer and you can walk around with it, but you just get to fill it as you see fit, and quite often mine will be filled with tea rather than coffee. I do have a little place in my heart for coffee, but mostly it's all about the tea. I just don't think I could carry on without it. So, the message on the cup got me thinking about that popular motto that's kind of been going around and gracing the posters: keep calm and carry on. This is like an old propaganda poster from 1939, my boyfriend assures me. He's very knowledgeable about such things, and he told me last night that the poster was originally made as a propaganda poster to boost morale in the early days of the Second World War, which was interesting to me on a few levels that I won't go into right now. But the poster was kind of rediscovered and reused by several different companies in 2000, and it's now become a great big thing. Not only is it a motto for so many people when they face so much adversity in their lives and stuff, but it's all over like stationery and products, and it's been bastardized in a few different ways. On my Facebook page, I have one that says "Keep calm and read tarot." How perfect is that? So yeah, it's one of those sayings that's now come really into popular use. And when I think about keep calm and carry on, I think about how many very fitting messages tarot has to give to us about how we can best do that in our own lives, and how we can posit that energy of calm into our lives so that we can carry on and push through and keep on going. Now, obviously, there are a great many cards in the tarot deck that have great advice with regard to this subject. I'm only going to choose 6. That's the kind of normal limitation that I set myself for tea and tarot. But each of them, I feel, has a really strong message for us about how to invite calm into our lives, and how to stay steadfast through adversity, and how to make sure that we don't become overwhelmed, that we don't decide to throw in the towel, that we stay true to ourselves, and that we can continue on with the work that we know is what's in our heart, and we can continue doing what's right for us and being authentic, I guess you could say, living authentically, which is so important to me, and which I talk about so often with so many people. The first card I've selected is the Five of Wands, which has this very visceral scene on it of these people that are all very much involved in this high drama. They're all fighting their own corner. They're all trying to get their own voice heard. There's a lot of tension, but there's also a lot of explosive expression happening and things like that. This card has obviously a myriad of different meanings depending on how it's used, but for the purpose of keep calm and carry on, I would say that this card has a tremendous message for us about the value of making sure we spend our energy correctly, making sure that we pick our battles, and that we invest our energy in the places that make sense to us, doing the things that make sense to us. It's very easy to get wrapped up in dramas that we really don't see any benefit to, that we feel that we are hindered by, that we feel are dragging us down instead of raising us up. It's also easy to get involved in other people's conflicts, or be the mediator for other people, or be other people's aides or guides, when really we should be giving ourselves guidance. I think it's important to work out how to spend your energy so that it best serves you and the people around you, and so that you are spending your energy in a way that's authentic. And tarot is a great tool for reminding us of that. Sometimes we need to actually take a look at the battles we are choosing to fight, take a look at which battles we're going into that don't really serve our interests, or that don't need to be fought, or that are just taking too much out of us and too much away from us. So I think the Five of Wands is really just asking us now to consider which battles we're fighting. And I'm not talking about physical, like, fisticuffs. I'm talking about which battles we're fighting in terms of getting our point across, getting our voice heard, standing our ground, and so on and so forth, or the battles we may be fighting on other people's behalves, that kind of thing. I'm asking you guys to look at the battles that you're fighting that may be expending your energy in a way that's not healthy, and have a look at the parts of your life that are very lackluster, lacking in energy, lacking in attention from you, and see how you can take the energy that you're using in an unhealthy manner and direct it and transfer it to something that is going to give you long-term nourishment. Because I think that's so important when we look at the battles that we are fighting and how much they're really taking out of us. And of course, it's important to stand your ground, it's important to be assertive, it's important to know your rights and exercise your rights. But it's also important to see when you are pushing for something, but really it's you that's suffering as a result of pushing for that thing. You know, if you really were calm and balanced about it, if you really invited mindfulness, if you really realize that, you know, you don't have to keep giving of your energy in that way, in a way that's not helping you, then you could stop, then you could have some distance, you could take a step back, you could have some space, and you could think, you know, I think that that's what I want. I think I want to spend my energy there, but it never makes me feel good. You know, it never makes me feel nourished. It never makes me feel nurtured. It always makes me feel exhausted and fed up and like, why did I bother? The second thing that I want to address is the idea of not wasting your energy in terms of the amount of stuff that you are doing and the amount of commitments that you're making. The Seven of Wands is a very important card for this. There's this guy, and he's battling away. He's getting involved in so many different things at once. He's putting his attention on so many things. He's trying to organize and establish so many different things that he's exhausting himself. He's confusing himself, and he's not getting any joy out of the endeavors that he's putting his energy into. Sometimes it's important to prioritize, and sometimes it's important to realize that you are not magnanimous, that you can't do everything and you can't be all things to all people at all times. You need to decide what's most important to get done, what's going to benefit you most, and you also need to decide how to be responsible and how to take accountability for the energy that you're placing into different things. A big part of this card is about saying no. That's what I think. I think it's about understanding that if you are this powerful guy here who's got a lot of energy and a lot to give and a lot of panache and a lot of get going energy, you know, motivated energy, then you are also the kind of person who is strong enough to be assertive and strong enough to be definite in your choices and strong enough to say no when somebody tries to push your limit, or say no to commitments which are too much and which are becoming a burden on you. It's very important, if you're the kind of person that's got loads of dynamic energy and you are very robust and you are very fortified and you're ready to go and get what you want out of life, then you must also be the kind of person who's prepared to understand when you've bitten off more than you can chew. And you must also be the kind of person who's prepared to say, you know what, that's too much for me to deal with right now. I have certain priorities that need to be put first, and then I will deal with this, or, you know, then we can collaborate on that, or whatever it is. So I think it's just about deciding how to spend your energy wisely. And if this is something that you have a lot of difficulty with, then I would suggest maybe using a spider diagram technique, where you actually draw you in the middle and then have a look at how all the different points that are coming out from you, that core energy that you have a look at where all the different points are going. How many of those points are spiraling out into work concerns? How many are involved in family dramas, friendship dramas, or helping a friend through something very traumatic that's happened? How many involve creative endeavour? How many are going into things that are just upsetting you time and time again, things that can't be resolved, things that really aren't working out, and you've tried everything and you're still pushing your energy forth into it, but it's not getting you anywhere? When you have a look on paper at where all your different degrees of energy are going and where the energy is pouring into, then you can have a look at what needs to be reined in. You can have a look at what needs to be taken back for yourself. I think this is really important, and a lot of the time we're visual when it comes to where our energy is going, because we're so in the moment when we're expending it, and we're so in the moment when we're putting it forth. It's very difficult for us to stand back and take that space and say, okay, a lot of my energy has gone towards this week, and nothing great has really come out of it, and it's made me feel crappy. So next week I'm going to take that energy and I'm going to spend it more wisely by doing XYZ thing for my business or my kids or whatever, for myself, for my joy. So when we're being visual about where our energy is going, by doing this diagram, by actually going through the motions and seeing where is our energy being set aside and where is it being wasted, where is it being best invested for me, then we're able to take action to reverse some of that energy that's going into places that are pointless, or going into places that don't allow us to, you know, shine the brightest that we can do. The Four of Cups I often talk about as a card which has a lot to do with focusing so intently on one thing that you're missing out on other opportunities around you. Which is funny because, in a way, the fact that I always interpret the card this way means that I am missing out on a prime opportunity to interpret the card in a completely different context. And it's in the context of mindfulness, it's in the context of getting centered. If you look at this guy, he is clearly in a state of very deep meditation and he's completely focused on the moment. And that is something that a lot of us forget to do. Mindfulness techniques are so important. They have completely surpassed the realm of Buddhism now. They are everywhere. They are in business, they are in self-help books, they are absolutely everywhere. Because it's so important to be present in the moment, and that's part of keeping calm and carrying on, is not absorbing ourselves too much in the past or too much in the future or too much in the specific issue or too much in our own heads, but in fact just being, just going through the motions of making a cup of tea and just being in that moment, noticing what your hand is doing, how cold the air is around you, the steam rising up from the cup. Sorry, I'm using an analogy from something that I blatantly love. Just being mindful and being in the moment. And I think also this card can be very much about finding your center. Mainly because in the Rider-Waite deck, the image is of a guy in a state of deep meditation. And I feel that meditation has a lot to do with finding your center. And what I mean by that is just finding your core. So it's like the mast in the middle of a ship. And when stormy waters come, you go to the middle of that ship, you grab onto the mast. It's the most stable place. It's the place that's furthest away from the choppy waters. It's the place where you feel safest and like you can stay there and hang on until the stormy waters kind of pass and everything's calm again. That's what I mean by finding your center. And it's a big part of keeping calm, is just to give yourself that second of space to find your center and align yourself with it, because it's very easy for influences to drag us this way and drag us that way, and by the end of it we look like a broken baguette. We've been torn all over the place and we're not sure what we're feeling, we're not sure about what we're saying inside with our inner voice, and we're not really sure what our position is because there are so many conflicting influences, there's so much going on, so much happening. So finding your center is really just about finding one or two key techniques that work for you, that enable you to align yourself with what's going on for you at that moment, and kind of filtering out all of the influences that are unfairly pulling you one way or another, or kind of clouding your intuition. Intuition is so important when it comes to keeping calm and carrying on, because when you are in line with your inner voice, then you will be calm, because your intuition is your inner sat nav and it will never lead you wrong. It's when you're out of touch with your intuition that things become chaotic and you don't feel calm. But then also with regard to carrying on, intuition is so important, because you can't really know which way you want to go, which direction you want to take, where you want to spend your energy, unless you've checked in with your intuition and you've thought, okay, this is definitely from heart level where I want to go, and now I can carry on. So when you pick up the phone to your intuition, you can keep calm and carry on. It's two birds and one stone, and that's kind of how I see it. Which leads me nicely into the next card, which is about checking in with yourself. The Two of Swords does look like rather an alarming card, a dramatic card. This girl is blindfolded, she has a choice to make, but she can't see the likely consequences of either choice, so she has to go within and she has to decide for herself from within what's going on and what's going to happen and what the direction is going to be. There is no outside advice, there is no definitive answer from any outside stimuli. She needs to go within, she needs to do it from heart level. And I feel that that's what checking in with yourself often is. When you're in the middle of this situation which is very chaotic or unpredictable, or it changes from moment to moment, or it makes you question yourself, or it makes you question your abilities, checking in with yourself is simply just the process of talking to yourself in a comforting way. That's how I see it, and that's how I do it as well. I go within, I filter out all the influences and stuff like that, so it's very much like finding my center, and then I speak to myself, not in a nutty fashion. I just kind of listen to myself soothing my inner being and saying, we're okay, it's fine, this is the moment, this is what's going on, this is what you've established, and this is what's still to do, and it's okay. Telling yourself that it's okay is a big part of keeping calm, and you need to have a really good relationship with yourself to maintain calm and balance and harmony and equilibrium in your life. If you don't have a decent relationship with yourself, and if you don't feel that you're worthy of your own love and your own acceptance and your own respect, then you're not going to have a lot of calm in your life, because you're not going to feel that you're entitled to it, and you're not going to know where to go to get it. You're not going to have that telephone line that connects you to your center, to your core being. So I think that that's why so many people posit the extreme value and the real benefit of loving yourself, of getting to know yourself, of putting as much into the relationship you have with yourself as you do into the relationships that you have with other people. And that will make an astounding impact on anybody's life. And it has for me. I was never like that when I was younger. And now I'm like that all the time, and it's improved life tenfold. So checking in with yourself is very important. It's giving yourself that respect and that time to answer your own question. Give yourself a chance to wait, stop, assess, and answer your own question in a way which honours your authenticity. The Hanged Man is about staying still and going nowhere. Sometimes it can be a very frustrating card because it comes along at a time when people are trying to do something, go somewhere, be something, amass something, create something, manifest something, and instead they feel stuck. They feel like they are stagnant. They feel like they are trying, but the wheels aren't moving, nothing's turning. And that creates a sense of immense frustration for people. But the Hanged Man has a really positive message. His message is basically that some of the best, most clarified answers and some of the clearest and deepest understandings you'll have in your life will come as the result of being still, of staying in one place, of not thinking go, 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 and of not having your eye on the pie, but instead just basically being still. And if you find yourself in a situation where something has stagnated or something is not coming into fruition, think of that as a time that is supposed to be happening. A lot of the time people say, I'm supposed to be there already, or I'm supposed to have done this, or I feel like I'm not where I need to be. And my answer is always, you are always where you need to be. If you are in that frustrated, stagnant place where you feel like you can't get out of the cage, or you haven't kind of like collapsed the box yet and been able to walk on to the next thing, it's very likely that your reaction will be, I'm not supposed to be here. This isn't what I want. This isn't who I'm supposed to be, where I'm supposed to be. I need to be somewhere else. But in fact, this time of stagnancy, of frustration, of tension, of not feeling like you've amassed enough yet or done enough yet is where you're supposed to be, because it contains one of the most beautiful and valuable lessons for you. It's very enriching sometimes to be still. So even if you're kicking and screaming and saying, I don't want this place, I don't want this time, I want to go on to the next thing now, stop and try and enjoy that stillness. Stop and try and enjoy that time of non-movement, because it's come to you for a reason. It's come to you to strengthen you and fortify you, so that you better understand how to deal with times like that, so that you understand the value of the massive extent of your own inner strength. And after that time has passed, you will be able to carry on. There's a lot of calm in stillness. There's a lot of keeping calm in just standing there and knowing, yes, okay, I have ambitions, I have goals, but at the moment, I'm this guy. And I need to be okay with that. I need to own that. You know, this is my moment. A lot of the time when the hangman comes up in readings, I tell querents that it's really important for them to value times of frustration and non-movement, because those are the times during which some of the best ideas come along. And those are the times during which you can do the things you wouldn't have thought of doing, you know, like spending simple times with your family, or spending time enjoying memories, or spending time getting back to the things you were doing 5 years ago. Sometimes ambition is like being on boil point all the time, and when you take that pan off and you put it on the back burner, even if it's not what you want to do, and even if you feel frustrated by it, it can sometimes lead to very, very good, fruitful things for you. It can get your life moving in a different direction. It can slow things down, and it can allow you to take stock and think about things in a completely fresh way. The last card for this reading is to do with recharging your batteries, and there are loads of cards in the tarot deck that will posit the importance of healing and taking care of yourself and being there for yourself and valuing and understanding well-being and the whole concept of well-being. The star is one of the most important cards. You can't really see the cards well this time because I've got the light coming in from above. The star is one of the most important cards for healing and well-being. It's about recharging your batteries. It's normally a card that comes along when a querent has been through something that was very high energy or demanded a lot of their motivation or a lot of their attention, and now they've come to that stage where they are finally able to kind of drop anchor somewhere, but they're exhausted, you know, they are drained, their energy levels are low, they've put a lot into something and now they feel that they have nothing left. The star is about just getting back that inner fluid of life, you know, filling your cup up again, making sure that you can give yourself time to be healthy and feel whole and do the things that you enjoy. When you come out of a really high stress, high energy situation, keeping calm and carrying on is mostly about actually going within to work out where your needs are and how to fulfill them. Healing and relaxing and recharging and contemplating, taking time to breathe, taking time to sleep, taking time to read, taking time to enjoy a nature walk. These are all things that the star would advise that you do. The star is a card that has a big message of helping and healing other people, but a lot of the time people miss out on one of the most important messages of the star, which is the idea of self-healing and the idea of giving yourself time to recharge your batteries and feel that you are re-energized and you are ready to carry on. You know, it's only once you've managed to amass a state of inner calm and revel in that and enjoy that and let that fortify you that you can then carry on and enjoy the fresh direction and, you know, go forth with more confidence and more bravery because you have done the necessary healing. You know, you can go back out on the battlefield only once you've pulled out the arrow and patched up and given yourself some time to heal. Okay, this has been Tea and Tarot, and I'm sorry if it was a bit rambled and scrambled and if I skipped over my words a little bit, but it's been a long time since I've done one of these, and I do try and pack 6 cards and 6 main messages into about 20 minutes. So I am trying to give myself a certain amount of time for each card, which is why sometimes I can seem like I'm being a little rushed, but I just don't want it to be too all over the place, and I don't ever want them to go on for too long because I do have to check myself when it comes to tarot because I could talk about it all night. Blessed be.